everyone. Today we are going to read our next chapter, Parliamentary Government. In this we will read what are the types of government in India prevailing. The system of government in India. In India, we know that when the constitution was made, we know that India is a very vast country. It is very diverse country also. So when the constitution was made, at that time this thing was taken under consideration and the form of government was divided into two tiers of the government. Two tiers means two levels of the government. One is the union government for the entire country and second is the state government for every state. Means there are two types of government. One is the union government or the central government which works for the welfare of the people of the whole country, and second is the state government which works for the welfare of the people of the respective states only. For example, the central government works for the whole India, but the state government, like the state government of Haryana, that works only in Haryana state. State government of Gujarat works for Gujarat only. State government of Uttar Pradesh works for Uttar Pradesh only. So when the constitution was made, at that time two tiers of the government were made. First the union or the central government and second the state government. Now we know that India is a very vast country, it is a very big country. So to govern over a very big country is not an easy task, it is a very difficult task. So to ease the workload of the state government, third tier was later introduced, which was known as the local self-government. And local self-government divided into two parts, the rural local self-governing bodies and urban local self-governing bodies. So when the power is divided between the central government and the state government, that is known as federalism, and when some powers of the state governments are taken and some powers of the central government are taken and those powers are given to the third tier of the government, local self-government, that is known as decentralization. So when the government was functioning at that time, it was seen that for very big state it is very difficult to administer. So to ease the administration, third level of the government was also introduced and the system was decentralized, so that in every part of the government work should run smoothly. So Constitution of India specifies the powers of the union and the state governments. So to clearly specify the powers means all the powers of the state government and the union government, those are written in the constitution, that on which subjects the central government can make laws, on which subjects the state governments can make laws. So for the making of laws and for governing over the country, subjects are divided into three lists: the union list, the state list and the concurrent list. Now under union list the subjects are of national importance, like defense of the country, then banking, communication and foreign affairs, and many more subjects are also there. Total 97 subjects are there under union list. So all these subjects required a uniform policy throughout the country. So all the subjects are under union list and only central or union government can make laws which are mentioned in the union list. Second is the state list. To make the functioning very smooth and easy, some subjects for legislation or for making laws are given to state government also. So all the subjects which are mentioned in the state list, only and only state government can make laws on those subjects. Now, like for every state, circumstances are different. So police, agriculture, these subjects come under the category of state list. There are total 61 subjects which cover the state list. Next is the concurrent list. Concurrent list is the list on which both the governments, the union government and the state government, both can make laws on the subjects which are mentioned in the concurrent list, like marriage, divorce, education, adoption, succession. These are some subjects of concurrent list. Total 47 subjects are there in concurrent list, and union government and the state government can make laws. But if any problem arises or conflict arises between the laws made by the union government and made by the state government, then only the laws which are made by the central government or union government, only that will prevail. Now the state government laws will automatically came to an end. So three lists are there: union list, state list and concurrent list. Now apart from concurrent list, like when the constitution was made, at that time certain subjects were not there at that time, but with some subjects are there in today's time, like the subject of computers, software, IT. These subjects were not there when constitution was made, but they have importance now. So these subjects are known as residuary subjects, and on residuary subjects only union or central government can make laws. The parliamentary form of government. Now we know that India has a parliamentary form of government. Representatives are elected by the people and are accountable to the people. Under parliamentary form of government, any country in which the representatives or the rulers are chosen by the people, that is known as parliamentary form of government. So under parliament, all the representatives are chosen by the people. Even head of the country is also chosen by the people, and all the representatives which are chosen by the people, they are accountable to the people. Accountable means they are answerable to the people for their working. Whatever work they do, people can ask question from them and they have to answer the questions of the people. So they are responsible for their working towards the people. That's why India is a parliamentary form of government. Now in our previous classes, we have read about the Panchayati Raj system, about the state government, and now we will read about the union government. Another name for union government is central government. Now we know that there are three organs of the government: the legislature, executive and judiciary. And government perform three functions, three fundamental functions. What are those three fundamental functions? First is legislate, to legislate. Government legislate means government make laws. Legislate means to make laws. Then execute, apply all the laws which are made by the parliament to execute. And third is judiciary. Judiciary provide justice to the people. If anything wrong is done to the people, then they have the right to go to courts and seek justice. So these three functions are performed by the government with the help of these three: legislature, executive and judiciary. Means with the help of these three organs, government perform its functions. Legislature, legislate the laws means to make the laws. Executive, execute over the made laws by the parliament. And then judiciary, safeguard all the laws which are made by the legislature. Union legislature legislature is the highest law-making body at the central level. It consists of President, the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So under Union legislature, three things are common: President, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. These three institutions came under Union legislature. First we will read about the President. We know that Mr. Ramnath Kovind is our present President. Now the President is the constitutional head of the country. According to our constitution, our President is the head of the country. President is indirectly elected, means all the representatives which are elected by the people, like all the MPs and MLAs, they make one electoral college, and that electoral college further vote for choosing the President. That's why President is indirectly elected, means we elect a representative and those representatives further choose President of India. Now the eligibility criteria and the terms for becoming a President. A person must be a citizen of India. Any candidate who is going for the voting of President, who is going to be elected as a President, he must be a citizen of India. Then minimum age should be 35 years of age. He must complete 35 years of his age. Then he must be qualified to become a member of Lok Sabha. Means he should be a member of Lok Sabha. He should. What are the qualifications for becoming the member of Lok Sabha? All the qualifications are required for becoming the President. Then not be a holder of any public office under central, state or local governments. Then he must not hold any office of profit under any of the government. Means he should not, the President, the person who is going for the elections of President, he should not hold any public officer. He should not be on the government job. Then the President is elected for the term of 5 years. The total working time span of President is 5 years. Then a person must fulfill all the criteria required for the President can stand in the elections of President. Then he should be mentally sound and should not be announced bankrupt in even once in his life. So these are the qualifications which are required for becoming President of India. Thank you. Have a nice day.